Here.
Vice President Gallegos?
Here.
President Slahoudi?
Here. Unless there are any changes, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All of in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to the minutes, unless there are any changes or changes to the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The board met in closed session, but I have nothing to report out. And now we're going to move on to recommendations and commendations. And our, and our first group that we would like to honor and thank is our Daly City Colma Chamber of Commerce. So I have been a board member for 12 years. And this is the most active chamber I've ever seen. They have events all the time. It's been like a rebirth that they've had. It's extremely inclusive. It's a widely diverse group of businesses, and they're extremely supportive of the community, extremely supportive. I feel like they're all my friends. I loved it because I get to hang out and have contacts and still support the community. I get to hang out with people I really love and admire, and in doing so, support our school district and support the community at large. And they do all of this on their free time. And it from the college and career fair that's at Serramonte, to everything they've done for our after-school educational programs at Jefferson, including our programs that we have with community colleges, and then culminating in the scholarship program where they awarded more scholarships than I think you've ever had at the last award ceremony that was at. So I'm extremely grateful for all the work that you do. And I know that's just a small drop in the bucket. And
your social media game is incredible. Is that Felicia all by herself? I think it is, because it's just incredible. And then the weekly newsletters, I know what's going on in the community. I know everything that's going on. And I've never just felt so connected as I have with you together. And I just want to thank you for everything you do for our schools.
Indeed, I just want to echo what's been said, Felicia, and to the chamber as well. I mean, everything you've done in support of our students and our community has just been incredible. It was really an honor to be at the scholarship event a few weeks ago and to see all the students of our community being honored with the incredible number of scholarships they received. And also just the various events that I've seen you at, where you're always coming up and introducing me to various members of the chamber, making sure that we got a name to the face on any business owner and anybody else who's part of our community. So thank you so much for continuing to be involved in the life of our community here.
Thank you so much. I find it amazing that you have time to do other things. But the chamber's so ubiquitous at school events. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank you guys. Sounds like I'm missing out on some fun parties. I gotta start tagging along with Kalima and Andy and get to know you guys a little bit better and see all that good work you guys are doing. I appreciate it.
yeah, and I will say that the Christmas party is fantastic. And to learn how to sing the 12 Days of Christmas in advance. That's just a hint. You have to come and see what I'm talking about. So with that, I'm going to hand out some awards. So we'll start with Felicia Leon.
No.
I know. And then Eleanor. Yeah, you stay right up there. Bring up Eleanor Serrata. Ellie.
I heard.
There you are. Thank you. And then next up, Bill. Here, not here. Okay, that's all right. Marie. Marie Delata.
Marie's son just graduated from Westmore.
Nice. Congratulations.
Sorry.
That's awesome. And then there's also there's Kevin. Kevin. And then not here is Monica. I'll give you some. And then we'll all come up and take pictures.
Austin, do you want the board up there with them? Yeah, okay.
I know that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and recognize Felicia Leong, the president, to address us.
Hello.
So I push it's just, no, it's
Is
just
it
to put
green?
it, yeah, you're good.
Hi, everyone. I'm Felicia with the Chamber, but I know you know who came along with me. We usually travel in a group because we do everything together. And maybe that's our secret. So secret to success. I mean, I'm just going to let you know that as the Chamber CEO, we're here to work with the community, which means you guys are the community and we bring the community to you. So that's why we kind of travel in packs. I do want to just say that Kevin, Eleanor, and Marie actually add into the social media. So I'm not the only one that does it. This is a group effort, but we are very happy to serve the community. And thank you very much for having us here.
Thank you. Thank you again. And so now we're going to move on to our spring sports championship recognitions. And again, a school system has a lot of ways to excel and exceed. And so we're very honored to recognize our sports, our students who have already, some of whom have already graduated, who did very well in their sports fields this year. So starting with Westmore High School badminton, the Peninsula Athletic League Ocean Division winners for boys doubles. And that is Hito Fan, And Pete Pete. How do I say it? That's where? That's where. There you go. No one. Okay, and then, we're gonna keep going. Okay, and then for Westmore High School Track and Field Peninsula Athletic, first place winners for 400 meters.
Actually, sorry, I think that's all.
Yes.
The coaches.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I will have the coaches go with the badminton. And the coaches are, is it Brandon?
No, Ambrose.
Sam.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know, as being part of a school system, you should know how to read. And it's right here for me. So it's Ambrose Luke and Sandy Fan. Sandy Fan. Oh, there we go. There you go. Okay, okay, now we're gonna go on to the Westmore High School track. Field and track and field peninsula athletic. First place winner for 400 meters. So Brandon Orletta. Congratulations. And then the coaches are Rhonda Maggio and Area Park.
Jane.
Danny, you're gonna thank you. And then for Jefferson High School track and field, we have Crystal Sampson. And then Coach Ken Holmes. Oh, and also Coach Aleka Fernandez. Okay, so again, congratulations to all of our sports athletes and coaches who excelled this year. We're going to take pictures.
Squeeze, so I'm asking you guys kind of come in the front there, you can kind of do what they use, squeeze it tight, and the guys can get them, you guys can tight.
We have got 2 rows. Somebody swing up. There you go. Yes.
And boarding, way matters. Okay, we'll give you first, please. I think we're going to, there we go, perfect. Okay, then what? 2, 3. Thank you.
Hold on.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah.
Ignore the message, I think.
There's a beeper.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. 400. Okay.
Oh.
Whoa. Come on, man.
All right, now turning it over, moving on to board reports. Starting with trustee Tejada. Oh, no. I'm not ready.
So I attended the Westmore graduation, and I realized that I've gone to 6 graduations there, and it was the sunniest one out of all of them, including when my son graduated. It was beautiful. Students played the national anthem on electric guitar. It was super cool. And it was nice to see a lot of the students who I've known since they were in elementary school and be able to shake their hands. And I just want to thank Mr. Peppers and his crew for making the grounds and just everything so beautiful. I remember the old days where we're scrambling to get all the, everything manicured for the outdoor graduations, and it was just seamless, just beautiful. And of course, I want to thank Mr. Ahrens and his entire staff for making such a special day and taking care of our students. And then I also attended the Adult Transition Program graduation, which was just, I cried. So touching. See how the students, they prepared so hard, their speeches and how much that they had their friends there, showing how much they supported them and cared for them and will miss them. And just kudos to Mr. Bashirs and gosh, all of the paras and the teachers there in the program. And it was just a beautiful graduation.
Trustee Lee.
Excuse me. I got to attend the Thornton graduation a couple of weeks ago. That was fantastic. The realization that it's the final Thornton graduation in this building. So that was actually pretty special to be in that room with a really loud bunch of families who were so ecstatic to celebrate their students. So that was actually a lot of fun. And then this weekend, I was able to attend the Pacifica Pride Parade, where I got to see our own Austin Warden drive our superintendent, Tony Fressa, down in the car parade. If you didn't see our social media, it's actually a pretty cool photo of her sitting in the, out there in that convertible, going down Beach Boulevard, doing the parade wave. Among other things, but it was a really great. I'm not sure. No, it's a parade. Come on. No, it was actually great. A great event, really great for the community on Sunday or on Saturday in Pacifica. That's all. That's what I've got.
I was able to attend the Oceana graduation. It was touching as always. It was a great time. And please don't let Vice President Gallegos fail to tell you that he attended his daughter's graduation at Jefferson.
I did, and in doing so, was able to hand my daughter her diploma on stage. So that was probably one of the coolest moments I've had as a parent, as an adult. I also did Thornton's graduation. I went to Terra Nova's graduation. They were all really good graduations, and it was cool to be a part of just, seeing all the celebrations and happy faces. A lot of school pride. Got to see a backflip at Terra Nova's graduation on stage.
Yeah, nice.
Good weather for every one of them too. So, huh? It came out of nowhere. No, I wasn't ready for it. I was pretty.
Can't get out. But what I would have said, and I will say here, is just to thank all the maintenance and grounds crews, because it is a huge lift to do all of the graduations, even though they were more spread out. That's a lot. So thank you guys, and thank the team so much for all the work that they did to make sure that the graduations were successful. And then just thank you to every single JUHSD employee for getting us through another successful year. And, welcoming everyone. I know some schools are gearing around extended school year and summer school is starting. So wishing them all luck.
Okay, I'm whispering to Colleen. Thank you. I had the opportunity to, and I don't actually, it sounds like I'm being facetious, but I'm not, to go to 8 graduations in the past 2 weeks. And so I'm grateful to all of the school sites for staggering the graduations so that I'm able to go to all of them. Number one, it was a doable task. And honestly, each graduation that I was at, like, I think I started off at Terra Nova and I was like, this is the best graduation. And then I went to Oceana. I'm like, this is the best graduation. And then I was at Westmore. This is the best. Jefferson's the best. Thornton's the best. Adult school. Every graduation this year, I feel like was at its best. The weather in Daly City 2 days in a row was sunny and wonderful. There was a backflip. There was at Oceana's, a student fell flat on stage. And I was like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, the mom in me wanted that poor young man to know it's okay. And then everybody told me afterwards, no, it was on purpose. It was a total thing. Apparently it was in his senior quote, like, you're the one most likely to fall at graduation. Anyhow, but there were funny things happening, but really, and then some really at every graduation student speeches that were extremely touching. I think I cried at all of them. But I was just very, very proud of our school district and of our schools. So a big congratulations to all of the graduates, and a big thank you to all of the school staff who put them together. The other highlight in the past 2 weeks was the Pacifica Pride Parade. I want to thank our Director of Communications and Staff Housing, Austin Warden, for inviting me, asking me if I wanted to ride. It never crossed my mind to ride in a convertible. And even though he tricked me and I was sitting on top of the convertible, I thought I was riding in it. It turned out to be a really fun experience. Actually, it was a really fun experience. I was apprehensive, and it was, I think, one of the best things. It, to me, was really, once I was riding through the streets with all of the people outside waving, I realized that it was really important for our students in our community to see that their school district fully supports who they are and celebrates who they are. So I was really happy to be there. And then walking around at the middle school where they had all the booths, and Trustee Lee was introducing me to a lot of community members that I hadn't met yet. And I knew a lot of community members. It was a really nice day. And so that is all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great. Do we have any board subcommittee reports? All right. Any report out from AFT Local 1481? Thank you, Mr. Buffet.
My name is Ed Lopez. I just finished my 30th year in education, so I'm pretty happy about that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ed Lopez. I am a member of AFT 1481 Executive Board of Officers and Labor Council Delegate. Since the president, Monica Casey, cannot be here, she asked me to give our union report. Tonight, AFT 1481 tentative agreement will be presented, and we would like to let you know that it was approved by the membership. Although it passed with 71% approval, there are some highlights that we are very proud of, especially for our classified members. For example, we are proud to acknowledge bilingual workers, mainly classified positions, and those paraprofessionals who help students with toileting. We would like to thank those who served on the negotiations team, the 18 union members who came together to work on this tentative agreement. Remember that although the regular school year is over, We still have union members working in the offices and on school and office grounds and for summer school. We hope everybody has a fun, safe June and July. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, just pick which one. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So with the approval of the consent agenda, we have accepted the resignation of our Director of Communication, Austin Warden. So we just want to take this moment in this meeting to talk about you a little bit. So I will start and then I'll turn it over to the Board of Trustees. I remember when we hired you and I remember when we spoke to you in the room next door. And that was the first time I had a really extended conversation with you. You just effuse an energy that is so engaging, and it manifests itself in how you decorate things and how you communicate. And it's energizing. It keeps me going. And like I held on to that during COVID and during SDR, doing everything with Serramonte Del Rey. You were just a light that kept us shining in a direction to keep moving forward, especially when we were getting attacked so viciously and you were just churning out all this great content. And every time I saw someone like it, or it was like, yeah, see, people understand, people believe, and it kept me moving forward. And then just the way you've taken on the building, how you've built the community at 705. You're like the embodiment of the spirit of what I hope the district always is. And so I'm going to miss you terribly. And I wish you all the best in everything that you do.
Well, you're leaving. I was just getting to know you. Since the first day I met you, you were always just super cool. Like Kalima said, your energy is it's contagious. I mean, you kind of bring that around the people that you're around, and it's uplifting. You can kind of see that you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you're really passionate about the things that you do and you care about, and it shows. And I appreciate that. And like I said, I didn't get to know you too well, but I hope, you come back. I hope I get a chance to know you better. And thank you for everything that you've done.
Thanks, Austin. I saw, telling everyone else, that I saw Austin right before Oceana's graduation. And my wife was really excited that he was going to take a picture of us. I said, why? She says, don't you see all those great pictures he takes for the district? But you've, shined much more light on us than that. I just remembering kind of asking you one day, hey, what's your educational background? You talked about, and one thing I remember you saying is you were a director of student activities. And I thought to myself, that must have been a lot of fun. So wherever you're headed next, I hope it's a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Awesome. When you look around the state of California, there is one person who has defined what it means to be a director of staff housing in the state of California. There's only one person who has defined that position, and it's going to be the template really for other school districts when they fill out position, whether it's solo or combined with another position, and you've done it. I am so proud of you for the work you've done. I couldn't think of a better person to actually open up that building with, the one who could be the cheerleader for the staff on the first weekend they moved in, cheerleader for the board, cheerleader for the EHC, cheerleader for Boulevard. I appreciate you. I appreciate the love that you've shown our students, the love you show our students, the love you've shown your colleagues, and our residents in that building. Dude, you are going to be missed. I will miss you. But I am so grateful that we've become friends through all of this. So thank you. And by the way, have you seen Austin when he wears a visor and wears shorts? Because that's lasso, my friends.
Oh, now we had your Halloween.
You making us cry, Austin. So I'm going to channel my best Michael Bolton. How am I supposed to live without you? That's how I feel about everything they said. I personally have had some challenges. You know, I've had some really dark days. And some of the things that really brighten me up is when I see our staff and I know they're looking out for us, you know. But or sometimes I'll look online, what are we doing? And I know it's you who's putting all that stuff up that makes me so proud. And I know, when I doubt myself, I think, okay, you know, things are okay. I don't have to do it all because I'm not functioning right now. And, you know, you are just sunshine. And I'm really going to miss you. Everything. I just feel like our family just got tighter and happier when you came to the district office. And I was on the EHC at the beginning, and you kept us organized. And I mean, I didn't have to worry about anything if you had anything to do with it. Because I can be a micromanager like some people up here, but you don't have to worry about a thing. And we didn't know we struggled for so many years with communication. It was always the number one thing that we struggled with. And then when we brought you on as the director, we didn't really know what we wanted. But you showed us what we needed. And now, you know, we have a bar and we have to attain that bar because you've set it so high, but you've taught us that we deserve that. We deserve this to be this high up. And, you know, I'm just going to miss you. I need to see those pictures of them with the shorts. But I know we're going to be in touch. And I always just wish you the very best always. And you're just you'll just brighten somebody else's day, but it's okay. Just, you know, send me a text and you'll know that you've brightened my day at that very moment. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to tell Austin no when he shared that he thought he might be resigning. Because I honestly, Austin, everything that everybody said, I echo. I don't know what I'm going to do without you as our communications director. People routinely come up to me in the community and compliment me on how great I'm doing, being at all these events. And I say, oh, no. That's Austin making me look really good. Thank you. At first, they used to think I posted everything and I would say, oh my gosh, thank you. It is great. Director Warden is posting all of those items. But honestly, you make me look good, and in turn, and you make our school district look good. And you make us realize how good we are, you know, and that, as Rosie said, that we deserve this. And so you really are a gift to all of us. And the other thing, so there's all of the social media and the communications that you're doing, that you've done such a beautiful job. But the part of it wasn't your job to do, and you took it on, was really elevating this dank, awful building, right? Like, we enter this building, it's not a nice place to be. Nobody knows where they're going. And when I became superintendent, one of the things I was like, nobody knows where they're going. There's no labels on anything. Nobody, you know, and I didn't say, put up this sign, do this, do that, but you created beautiful signage. You brightened hallways. You know, you think to change the background in the boardroom with the student of the month. You think of things, you're very creative, and you come up with ideas that, you know, we didn't think about. And then once you do them, we're like, oh my gosh, that's so much better. So I just thank you so much. And you are our friend. We're going to miss you so much. And we definitely hope you're back.
Yes.
Please know that this is, thank you for all of your kind words of support. Please know that professionally, this is one of the most difficult decisions that I've ever had to make. But for personal reasons and needing to be closer to family in the Central Valley right now, it was a decision I felt I had to make. This is my 19th year in education. And I can honestly say this is one of the most heartfelt and wonderful districts that I've ever worked for. To have a board that fully supports me both professionally and personally has just been wonderful. To work for an executive cabinet team that has done the same. Amazing. I can honestly say that the students and staff of this district are the most unique and special groups that I've ever worked with. They are the most polite teenagers. In all my years of working in education, they are the most polite teenagers I've ever worked with. The staff, especially Westmore, when I started as vice principal, welcomed me with open arms during a time of COVID and going into distance learning. And that was when I went back into administration, and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, here we go. Let's build this plane as we fly it. But again, to have the support of everyone involved, just really, it says something about how unique and special JUHSD truly is. And so I thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this family for the past 5 years. I really, really appreciate it. And I definitely want to come back. My goal is to be back in the Bay Area as soon as I can. But again, I thank you so much for your love and support. And I do appreciate all that you've done for me. So thank you.
So it's a small token of our gratitude. The more that so now you get to come on up.
Are we finally going to get Austin in a picture?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You can treat this with the book. You're green. You have to post that on social media.
I will.
Austin tells me he's going to come back for every Pacifica Pride.
Okay.
Can I ride me out?
That's nice.
Sorry.
Okay. All right, moving on to public comment. I don't have any cards. Great. Moving on to discussion items. Our first item up is our coalition letter advocating for gender equality. Superintendent Presta.
Thank you. I was not ready.
It's okay.
Give me 1 second. I apologize.
No, I can take it.
I was not
So
even where
we reached out, Oceana student named Bethany Zhao reached out and requested that the district sign on to a letter that will provide girls the ability for the California American Legion's Boys and Girls State program to have equal opportunity as their male counterpoint to advance the national program.
Thank you.
So I think the national program is limited by gender. And I think we have a video here.
Yeah, there you go. I asked you to send video.
Today I'll be talking about my coalition letter about gender discrimination in the American Legion. The American Legion is an incredibly powerful veterans organization. They have around 2 million members in the United States. One of their main goals is to promote patriotism, and one way they do so is through their Boys and Girls State program. Boys and Girls State is a California program that brings together roughly 1,000 students, also known as delegates, for a week of learning about the government through creating mock ones based on the California Constitution. Schools nominate potential delegates, and the American Legion selects who actually gets to attend. Boys and Girls State is the only coeducational program across the nation, because in every other state, there's a boys' state and there's a girls' state. They're run by separate organizations. The American Legion runs Boys' State. The American Legion Auxiliary is a separate organization with similar values that runs Girls' State. At each of the state programs, the delegates have an opportunity to attend the national program. For instance, from each Boys' State, 2 delegates are selected to attend Boys Nation, and from Girls State, 2 delegates are selected to attend Girls Nation. However, in California, the girls at the Boys and Girls State program are denied the opportunity to attend the national program solely on the basis of gender. Girls at Boys and Girls State are a part of a program run by the American Legion. So they are not eligible to attend Girls Nation, which is a program run by a completely separate organization. The American Legion just simply has made the choice to deny girls an opportunity based on their gender. Last year, nearly 1,000 delegates, in near unanimous agreement, advocated for giving girls equal opportunity, and the American Legion rejected that. They have no intention on making any changes this year, and they want to be able to continue to deny girls equal opportunity. At a program meant to teach youth about our nation, sending the message that gender determines opportunity is especially dangerous. For that reason, I've started a coalition letter urging the American Legion to give girls the equal opportunity that they deserve and that the American Legion can provide, but currently does not. At the moment, over 15 members of the state legislature have supported the letter, and several other organizations as well. I hope that the board is interested in supporting the letter and standing up for equal opportunity for women. Thank you for listening.
So that was an Oceana student. Wow.
So I'm talking a little bit about
1 second. Okay. And I can't even talk about how proud I am to be a board member of this board that has someone who's organizing something like this, but not just affecting people in the state, but also nationally. And so I don't know if anyone else has any questions or comments, and then we can just give direction.
Yeah. Bethany was on the Student Advisory Council as a sophomore. I know and I believe that she's the student rep for the County Office of Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 2 years in a row now.
Yes.
So, and my son attended Boys State. And it was an incredible program. And I just assumed that the girls who did Girl State and our former board member, Jeannie Matizak, helped keep that going at Oceana High School. I assumed they had the same opportunities but this is just appalling. So of course I support the petition, the letter.
Fully agree with all that said. I mean, this is kind of shocking, really, and it's still going on. So yeah, it does stop.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, I'm ready to vote for this or whatever we're doing.
Everyone okay
signing
off the letter?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So, thank you too, because I was so discombobulated on my computer. I couldn't even pull it up. I just want to say that I invited Bethany to come and talk tonight. She's out of town. And so I said, if you'd like, I said, if you want to record a video, we can play it. And I am just amazed at how eloquent and thorough her video was. I guess I'm not amazed. I'm actually expect that from Bethany because she's sort of proven herself to be somebody who takes action. So I'm in complete agreement. I couldn't believe it. I just made that same assumption, Rosie, that they would have the same opportunities as Boys State. So I highly recommend that we sign our name.
Yep. So with that, go ahead and give that direction.
Wonderful. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next item on the agenda is a public hearing for our local control accountability plan 24-25. Deputy Superintendent Baca.
Good evening, President Salahuddin. Good evening, members of the board. Tonight, I'm very happy to present the 11th Local Control and Accountability Plan.
But who's counting?
Better and better each year. So the LCAP, as a reminder, is a 3-year plan that describes the goals, actions, and services and expenditures to support positive student outcomes. And it is required that it meets the 8 state priorities, as you can see on the left-hand side. It also helps us identify the supports for the unduplicated students, and they are our students learning English, students from low socioeconomic backgrounds, and students in foster care. And it really provides an opportunity for us to tell our stories. So the LCAP, the full CDE template, there's about 120 or so pages, and is very, very comprehensive because it basically tells everyone what we are doing as a district. I added here on this page some of the resources. So what I have done was I created an executive summary of like 13 pages. So that 129 pages is boiled down to 113, which is like just the basic goals and actions and services and expenditures. But as part of the CDE template, on top of that, we have to submit the budget overview for parents and also the annual update, which is about 39 pages. So it's very, very lengthy. So goal revisions last year, these are the 7 goals that we have. And for this year, it pretty much remains the same, except that some things are changed in order. So I'll go over that in a little bit, but essentially the biggest change is really putting equity at our #1 goal. Okay? And also the other big change is that in the past, we had the college and career goal, but it was actually comprised of many, many goals of teaching and learning and college and career. So I separated the college and career from the previous goal to teaching and learning, and also the college and career. Also, I've consolidated the English language development program and then the special education program that we have. So one big part of the LTAP is that we must engage our educational partners. And here are some meetings, official meetings that we've had to talk about the LCAP. But just know too that every meetings that we hold, basically we take into account their feedback and their comments, and we want to ensure that all of the things that we talk about in these meetings are incorporated in the LCAP to improve student outcomes. So the first goal is cultivating a culture of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And as I mentioned, this is really the pillar of our LCAP. This is the goal probably with the most revision, because what I did with this goal is I took the recently board adopted equity policy and lifted metrics and actions and services and make it come to life in the LCAP. So here are the actions and services for goal 1. A lot of it is very similar from what we had in the past, but I want to specifically call out the teacher on special assignment for next school year. So during COVID, we received a lot of money through ESSER, and we spent a lot of money in basically building our bandwidth and capacity and teach our leaders and really develop like the foundation for anti-bias and anti-racism. And so we're slowly transitioning out of that, and we've hired a teacher on a special assignment, Dan Arzaga, who would help us move this work forward internally. The other thing that I would like to call out that we have talked about, but we haven't really implemented, is the students organized against racism. So that is one area that we would like to plan and implement the following year. And the other new item is forming affinity groups for our staff. Here are some of the metrics, and there's a couple of new metrics that I would like to call out. The first metric is the Student Equity Survey, and this actually came from our National Equity Project survey when we asked students if they feel like they're seen, valued, or heard at school. And as you can see, there is a lower percentage for our African American students, our Pacific Islanders, and our Hispanic students. And we want to make sure that we address why that is. And so last year, a group of us spent a whole lot of time listening to students and trying to really figure out the root cause. And we're going to continue with that work. The staff equity survey and the ethnic studies feedback. So the baseline is 0 because our county recommended that if we're going to set the baseline for the following year, to start it out at 0 and then have a projected target. The other new thing is the classroom teacher ethnic representation ratio. So it's basically comparing the percentage of our classroom teachers with our population. So anything over 1.0 means that there is like an overrepresentation of that specific ethnic group. Risk ratio for African American students with specific learning disabilities. This is a metric for significant disproportionality because we're back classified under SIGDIS for this year. And the goal of the state is that our target ratio is less than 3. So basically what this means is that our African American students are 4.72 more likely to be identified with specific learning disabilities. The third metric on this page is that each of our school site has a wellness staff that's assigned as a school liaison for trans and non-binary students. Our mental health program specialist, Melissa Ambrose, had developed protocols and best practices for our students. And what we would like to do is for our students identified as non-binary or trans to meet with the school liaison and have, a conversation, just do a check-in, make sure that they feel supported. So this metric was actually recommended by our wellness staff. Goal 2 is about positive school climate that prioritizes well-being. So here are the actions and services. And as you can see, it's very, very similar to last year's actions and services. But one thing I want to call out on this page is the developing practices that promote and support staff well-being. So this came about really after COVID, when we realized that we really need to make sure that our staff is fully supported and they have the professional learning opportunities that they need in order to really take care of themselves, how to be resilient so that they're better prepared in teaching our students. So I just want to call that out because I believe last year, Jefferson High School and Thornton High School had an organization do professional learning on mental health for their staff. And I would like to continue that with other school sites as well. Here are the metrics. These are the same metrics, the suspension rate and in and out of school, discipline referral rates, again, very, very similar from the previous years. However, on this page, there's risk ratios. So risk ratio will basically help us measure disproportionality. And these are pulled from our equity policy. So we would like to know the risk ratio for our students receiving in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, and so on and so forth. And the last metric also was recommended by one of our district advisory committee members, because if our goal is to really create the sense of belonging, are our students participating in extracurricular activities, and what's the percentage of that? Goal 3 is about teaching and learning. And I want to really call out Dr. Robinson, our instructional coaches, and our teachers on special assignment on helping us really strengthen this goal. So again, these are very, very similar as last year. It's not here, but the blue sheet work where they talk about curriculum alignment and objectives for students is really, this is where it lives. We're going to continue with universal design for learning and grading for equity, and everything here is pretty much the same. The metrics is our STAR Renaissance, which is really measuring the growth of students from the beginning of the year to the end of the year and then year after year. So this is kind of different from the Smarter Balance scores, because with Smarter Balance scores is only measured in the 11th grade, but we also would like to know what those scores are. So the same thing for science. Also, the percent of students accessing advanced placement courses is also here. And I've also broken it down by ethnic groups and other student groups. Goal 4 is the College and Career Readiness Program. Again, very similar items, having the tools that we have to measure post-secondary readiness, our Career Technical Education Program, and I want to specifically call out strengthening their school counseling program to really make sure that we have the professional learning and the scope and sequence to really support our students. And the last item, exploring additional courses tailored to college and career preparation. So this came up several times in the conversations I've had with many people, where we have a college and career exploration class for 9th graders to transition from 8th grade to 9th grade. Right now it's not mandatory, but would we consider that as being a required class? And on top of that, would we require something very similar in the 12th grade to help transition students from high school to life after high school? This would be a class where they can talk about how to fill out college applications, resume, financial aid, and also, the new requirement for financial literacy. Maybe this is where it would be. So exploring on how we can incorporate all of that is something that we would like to do for next year. Goal 4 metrics, grad rate, A through G rate, AP scores. The difference between the last two, says advanced placement exam scores of 3 or above, is the percentage of exams. And the last one is the percentage of students who receive at least a 3 or above, at least one in like one of their AP exams. Because as you know, one student could be taking like multiple exams. Additional goal 4 metrics, and a lot of this is found in our college and career indicator. One of the new ones that we will measure next year is our state seal of civic engagement. Goal 5 is strengthening our English language development program. And again, similar actions and services, but I want to specifically call out under the newcomer wraparound intake process and supports that we will be starting our pilot for the newcomer bridge program next year. We have 2 teachers, really great all-star teachers. So we have Lisa Rubin and Adam Cuby that will be teaching the class for our newcomer program. Goal 5 metrics, still very similar to the other metrics, but specifically calling out our students learning English. And one of the other new things that we really need to highlight and collect information on is for our long-term English learners. So I've separated the metrics to all of our English learners, and then how are our long-term English learner students performing? Long-term English learner basically means that if they've been in the U.S. school for 6 years or more, and they have not progressed and be reclassified as fluent English proficient. Same thing with, science. We're separating out the metrics, the LPAC scores, the reclassification rate. Goal 6 is about supporting our students with IEP. This is a focus goal where ideally we would like to see at least an orange indicator for our students in smarter balance assessments, graduation rate, and college and career indicator. Here are the actions and services. And one of the things I really would like to highlight is that, we're really strengthening our co-teaching program. And next year, all of our schools will have a co-teaching program. Here are the metrics, very similar to the other ones, except that it specifically calls out our students with IEP. One of the things that is new is calling the A through G rate, not just for students with IEP, but the diploma-bound students. Here are some of the other metrics, the least restrictive environment. So this is measured by the California Department of Education, and we want to, make sure that we are measuring the progress with this. Lastly, goal 7 is maintaining school operations. And these are standard operations that we've had, like the base program, the cleanliness of our facilities, our textbooks, communication. And so again, very similar as it is in the past. Here are the metrics. So we have the retention rate for certificated staff and administrator. But what I did here was just for our information, the ethnic breakdown of the teachers and the administrators that we have for this year, because it will be kind of interesting to track which, ethnic groups are staying, leaving, and it will tell a story. Here are the other metrics, similar as in the past. And quick budget overview. So the total budgeted general fund expenditure is about $89 million, and close to 75 million of that is actually reflected in the LCAP. So as you can see, a lot of what we're doing is reflected in this plan. And these are the specific items for the LCFF supplemental funds. We're totaling $4,080,000. And that is pretty much it. So thank you.
Thank you. Open it up for any questions or comments.
Yeah, I will just say, I know we went into great detail at our work study a few weeks back, but I will just say, you mentioned this is the 11th LCAP,
Yes.
and it is by far the most equity focused LCAP for sure. I mean, we've improved year after year, especially in the past couple of years, but this really just speaks to, I think, our values as a board and as a district. I mean, it's really just, it's really an outstanding piece of work that you've done. And that this whole larger community has been able to pull together. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that 55% A through G completion was our goal, and here it's the baseline. Just as one simple number, but the fact that we've got really good goals for each of the different student populations across the board. And the fact that you found ways to make goal one very highly measurable in particular is really, really well done. So thank you for the hard work you put into all of this.
As usual. Thank you for all your hard work on this. It really maps out what we've been talking about for the last few years and just how we've evolved as we've seen how COVID has hit us and how our students have changed and how that has changed our population and how it's changed our focus. So thank you. And I really appreciate how you got as much input as you could. Visiting Student Advisory Council, really taking their suggestions to heart, and especially when they gave their presentation at the end, just like a month ago, I think. I just have one question. I wanted to know, what does the newcomer program look like?
So our newcomer program, when they first come in, they are either placed in based on their English language proficiency assessments of California. They're placed either in ELD 1 or ELD 2 based on their scores. It starts here at the district office where we have folks that do an intake process.
Right.
They have some questions for the students and the family so that when they are handed off to the school site, there's already a little bit of information that our schools would know about the student. We also provide like a newcomer backpack with like, school supplies in that backpack. But what happens when they go to the school site is that each school site have their own swag, like a sweatshirt or a water bottle that they provide to the families. Our social worker also does some intake process with the students and the families. They tour the students around and they introduce them to, everyone. And so, they're like kind of like a wrap around support. One of the new things that we are exploring is how to incorporate Daly City Youth Health Center. So one of the things that we're talking about is having a questionnaire that if there is like an immediate need for Daly City Youth Health Center, then they can basically expedite the process and have somebody help the families there while they're doing their registration. So we are going to, pilot that for next year, and hopefully that more of our families will be able to be supported in that area as far as health and medical support.
Oh, great. And so what would the two TOSAs be doing?
So the teachers on special assignments, one at Westmore and one at Jefferson.
Okay.
They mostly help out with like the instructional piece of what the students need. So it's a combination of like the academic support that they need, the social emotional, support that they need, and then, medical and things like that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I just want to thank you for, putting this in layman's terms, because I know this is really complicated and just makes it really easy to kind of understand, even though I don't really fully understand it. But as I go through it, I can kind of start to try to figure it out. But One of the things I was curious about though, as far as like mentioning families, I feel like parents always want to know where the money goes in the school district. I just don't feel like they make use of tools like this that people spend a lot of time on, like yourself. How do we go about doing that in our district? You know, kind of sharing this information and making sure that people know that, you know, somebody like you is really taking the time to help everybody else understand how we are spending the money.
So I'm thinking that maybe as part of the annual update for next year, we do like a summary. I don't know if it'll fit in 2 pages, like front and back, of just like how we're doing with the metrics and the expenditures. Like if we said, you know, I've allotted $1 million for this, how much have we spent so far? And then also like a summary of the metrics that we can send out and in multiple ways. So, you know, in Ms. Press's weekly communication, we can also directly send it out to families and then have, you know, the PTOs, PTAs. And also it's really important that our sites also know, like our site administrators know what is happening because they do help with the communication. Yes.
So kind of speaking to that and to what Ms. Baca is saying, we're going to, at our administrative retreat that we have every summer at the end, well, before school's starting, we're going to spend, Ms. Baca is going to spend a lot of time going over the LCAP with our administrators because they are so entrenched in their school sites that we don't always spend a lot of time with the LCAP with our administrators. So we're going to do that this summer.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything, Chair? Okay. I don't even know where to start. Transparency. That's what I'm going to say. That is the thing that most school board members tell me that is lacking in their school district, that there's no transparency. And that is what I think we do better than any other school district in the state of California. I think we are the most transparent with not just our LCAP, but also our budget and how things are spent. And so, and if you want to take the time, you know, you can see what we're working on. You know where we're spending our money, and you can see again, you know, one of my sheroes, Delane Easton, a budget is a statement of your values. You can see what we value. And so this is all thanks to your work. And the LCAP comes out at the same time as delegate assembly meeting. And so like, I almost wear it as a dress. Like I come in and I'm like, oh yeah. But I wish every year I said I should take a picture. I have board members crowded around my laptop looking at our LCAP, asking is this on your website? I'm like, yeah, this is right here. And they all go. And the one that asked me the most questions was a San Francisco school board member, because they are struggling right now. And she told me she has access to none of this information. The other thing that surprises me is that San Mateo County Board of Education board members also say that they don't know how their budget is spent. And they're in charge of reviewing our LCAP. So to be such a small district, it's unbelievable what we do. It's unbelievable what we do. And I am eternally grateful, as usual, for the LCAP. But this year, it was just, shock or surprise is too strong a word, but just to see how quickly you flipped things from the equity policy that we just adopted and pulled it into the LCAP. Amazing. I was so proud. So transparency is the word I'm going to start with, and gratitude is the word I'm going to end. Extremely grateful. And then calling some things out, I do think it's the right move because I think it's going to become law pretty soon. that has something that has a finance post high school piece. I mean, I just hear so many legislators talking about it. I feel like it's just getting ahead of the game to do something like that. Though that and computer science, those are the two things I hear legislators talking about all the time. And I think one of those things, one or both are going to go in law soon. And then to piggyback on Trustee Gallegos, communicating this out. This is what we can do with school board members. And I think, us getting together and, a lot of times the presentation, maybe being able to do it at back to school nights again, the presentation that we've used a lot of times, either I've made it or in collaboration with Deputy Superintendent Van Raphorst. It's easy for us to pull it together because we have all this information. And just to have a couple of talking points that we all just become well versed in that we can share with parents. And I think there's a lot of, as Trustee Lee was talking about, I mean, we're our baseline for A to G now. All of the work we've done on graduation rate, all of the work that we've done to build in a lot of curriculum that parents have asked us and what we are tracking now. I think we should share all of that things, especially as we continue to talk about district needs. So I think it would be good for all of us to create something in parent language that we can easily explain to parents. Like, this is what we're doing with the money, and this is why we're continuing to ask you to trust us with funding. So thank you so much. And I'll turn it over to Superintendent Preston.
Thank you. I'm like inching towards my thing. I just want to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, President Salahuddin. 2 or 3 conversations I've had today with colleagues here, with my people, about what's happening in some other school districts and the amount of outside funding that our neighbors receive from, lots of different places, wanting to make sure they're working on just what we're already working on, hiring many, many people to work in these districts at a much higher pay rate than what we pay. Like, we are sort of, I don't know, the few and the mighty here. Our whole district, but I'm especially grateful to our executive cabinet team, who quite frankly are, we are the best, and it shows. But the work that we're doing is we are really leading on a shoestring, on a few people. And I'm, that's, I don't know, not that I'm proud of that. It shouldn't be like that. But I'm just really grateful for your leadership, because we couldn't do this if we had a school board who wasn't like-minded, right? I think that the reason why we have this momentum is that everybody in this room has the same focus. And so we're able to make really great strides. Thank you, Ms. Bach. It's beautiful.
So there's supposed to be a public hearing. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Anyone would like to comment from the public? Okay, seeing no comments, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you so much. Moving on to our next item, business services, our maintenance, operations, and transportation department update, turning it over to Deputy Superintendent Van Raphorst and our Director of Maintenance, Operations, and Transportation, Marcus Peppers.
Thank you, President Salahuddin. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad to have our Director of Maintenance, Operations, and Transportation here to provide you with a department update. So Mr. Peppers, take it away.
Hello, members of the board and President Salahuddin. So we're just going to do a quick maintenance, operations, and transportation update.
I think the arrows should help to advance. Yeah.
So we'll go over general custodial maintenance updates, an update on the waste diversion, and a quick transportation update, and we'll leave some time at the end for questions. So we've been working on designating site admin to help oversee facilities and our site custodial teams. We think it adds an extra level of support for the custodians, and it also keeps them more in tune with what's going on around the sites. It helps with communication. we've been able to establish regular site meetings with their help, because now it's not just me that has to meet with every site. We're able to have someone on site that can meet with the custodian teams and kind of give them support right away rather than having fewer meetings. We're over summer, we'll be working on like site walkthrough checklists that will help with, we'll do 4 walkthroughs a year. And the checklist will include what to be looking for around the site so we can ensure all the jobs are being done and the facilities are being maintained. Paired with that, this summer, we're working with the maintenance staffs to build job and site specific duties that will say what they're supposed to do for grounds, for night custodians, for day staff, that will clearly lay out for some of the administrators that haven't worked with maintenance. It'll help them be able to better assist and know who's responsible for what and who they'll be speaking with when something does arise. And then we're also working with the teams to just make sure that vacations are scheduled, that we're keeping a schedule that we always have coverage for the site, and that they're taking breaks at right times where someone's still going to be on the site. For campus cleanliness and monitoring, we've also enlisted the admin. We're trying to work with the campus security as well, just to have as many eyes on the site as we possibly can. Sometimes maintenance might get busy and they might not see an issue that came up, and the more eyes we can have on the site will just help us be able to address it quickly. We've also identified some areas that where cleaning is just ineffective due to just old decaying buildings, or areas that no matter how much we clean it, it may not look clean. So we have a bunch of those areas that we've identified. We've already started working on some of the projects to fix them. We'll have a bunch more going this summer. It just includes, you know, some bathrooms, some older areas, some locker rooms, some of the flooring. So we'll continue to address those areas. We've improved the work order system. It originally everything went through myself, so I had to have my hands on everything to send to the sites. We've now adjusted it so it goes directly to the sites, so they're seeing things right away, and if anything needs to be escalated, they can escalate it to myself or to any of our craftsmen. So that's just helped clear the tickets a little quicker, because it doesn't have to be directed to everyone. It's already being sent to the site. And then I'll mention again, but we also just want to try to engage the students. Same thing as the administrators and campus security. We want them to tell us issues that are going on and have a place to speak to let us know, because we want them to have a clean school, and they're the ones seeing the bathrooms or seeing the areas that aren't being cleaned, and we want to know that feedback right away. One of our issues has always been staffing shortages, though right now we have actually a full crew at all of our sites, which is the first time in a long time. But we've also hired a roving night sub-custodian to help out with absences. And we've also hired a rental coordinator. And the rental coordinator works kind of off hours, so they're working late, and they also work on weekends. So she's been helping incredibly with the theaters. We've been able to get Westmore going, and it's just taken a lot off me so I can help the sites. And we've cleaned up the system to make it incredible. It also gives a face to our renters on the weekends, an extra person to help the teams. And then she has also been helping me coordinate projects, and it's just help the entire maintenance department, because she can meet with the night crews, she can meet with some other people when I'm tied up, and so it's really helped the whole department. We've also removed some of the hiring barriers. We've eliminated the test for subs, because the subs we're not tied to, and so we're going to see how they work. If it's not working out, we have no obligation to keep them. So we thought some of them not passing the test was unfortunate, because they could be a great worker and just not passing the test that we need. We've also updated some of our other tests to make sure they're relevant to now and what the job is now. And the site admins have helped coordinate the interviews, which has made the hiring process go a lot quicker as well. We've also lately, to keep some of the extra pressure off of our teams, we've hired some outside help to do some remodeling projects, painting projects, flooring projects, carpet projects, things like that that have a big impact when you see them. But our staff may not always have the time or enough people to complete them. So we've gotten a bunch of those done, and we'll have a lot more going this summer as well. And then some of the things we're working on now is staff has been wanting more training. So I've been working with SMISIG to try to implement like weekly or bi-weekly like tailgate topics that'll mainly cover things like safety and just different like 15-minute quick trainings that we can do, as well as our regular custodial training and training for the waste diversion that I'll talk about later. And then for attendance, we still have issues. Some of our staff is getting older, so there's no way we can prevent that. But Frontline has greatly helped our ability to plan for it. As well as those site meetings, we're able to actually speak with the people and know when people are going to be out and plan much better for it. Now we'll get into the waste diversion, which I know is a big thing on the campuses and for the students. So at all of our sites, we have added our tri-bins. These were bins recommended from the county of office. We've also added signage on each one. And we've been talking about one of the hardest things is even with signage, people don't know where to put things. So there will be training that comes from that, and also working with the food services to try to get more compostable items that we'll be able to directly know they're going right into the green waste. One of the issues we've run into is when the bins are set up like this, sometimes they'll pull one and it won't get placed back, or the signs will fall and they're not being replaced. So this summer we'll be working to get them all back in their place and monitor if we need more in certain places. We'll be placing the pictures on the bins themselves, and we'll try to chain them together. So if you take one, you kind of have to take them all. You can't separate them. We've also heard that in the classrooms, they might not all, okay, I think that again. In the classrooms, when we initially walked the sites, we had believed we saw recycle bins and garbage bins in every classroom. We leave compost out because we don't want issues with pests, of course. But we're now hearing that there might not be bins in all of the classrooms. So we do have the bins, and this summer we'll just be doing a site-by-site, room-by-room audit to make sure that every classroom has them. And then, as I mentioned before, student engagement is huge for the waste diversion. There where a lot of our waste is coming from. So we have a direct contact at the county office that has been helping give the sites audits. They've been giving us a lot of recommendations on what to use, what other districts are doing. And the person also is willing to provide training for any staff. So we've already had some trainings ourselves, but now I'm working with the sites themselves to see how to reach the students more, likely starting with, like a Green Hats or one of the groups that does it to be the leaders, but then finding a way with the site to push it out farther. So as I mentioned, we've had 3 trainings with the county office for our staff. She's also provided one for the kitchen staff. So we'll continue to be doing that as we kind of adjust the program to make it work best. And and they're who have supplied us with a lot of our signage, our engagement, and so we'll continue that relationship. They've also helped big time with the local garbage companies because they're not always the easiest to work with. And then lastly, just a quick update on transportation. So we currently have 16 vans, 7 buses that are running, 2 that we're going to dispose of. And then, of course, our various maintenance vehicles for the craftsmen and at the sites and the gardening vehicles. So we have only 3 bus drivers. We just lost one, and 14 van drivers and 1 mechanic. So our next steps are going to be to do a transportation audit, see that our fleet is holding up, see that we have proper staffing levels, discuss ways to try to keep bus drivers because unfortunately we're losing them to other districts and other jobs that are paying more. And also we had thought that we would only need 1 mechanic as our fleet was getting newer. That has kind of changed because the fleet has grown and our mechanics are now doing a lot of work in-house, from rebuilding motors, replacing motors, transmissions, bigger jobs that in the past we've always sent out. They're now able to do those in-house. So we'd like to look to add some help for the mechanic as well. And so we'll be doing that audit in early fall. And this is all I had.
Thank you. Opening up for any questions. Go ahead, Trustee Walker.
Thank you very much. I have a question that
This position will be 6 years in December.
I see a pattern, and I can't quite describe it one word, but I see you're doing training, and you're kind of surveying new things like you give people new responsibility. It sounds like that you're making a more professional. So congratulations on that. Thank you. And thanks for your work. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. Presentation was really well done. Custodial work is often very, unappreciated in schools, especially big schools. And I think as parents of children and teenagers, we know how destructive they can be and how messy they can be. Amen. So that's a big task. It's a big job. You guys also maintain all the systems in schools and keep people warm and keep people cozy and keep the lights on. There's a lot more to it than just, the simple stuff, So I appreciate you guys, all your hard work and the presentation and just how well organized you seem to be with all of this and kind of trying to get it, to match everything else that we're doing in this district and real high level. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. It's good to get this update on where everything is at, and especially on the transportation piece, because I've always kind of wondered how many vehicles we actually have, because we do see them around the district. With regards to the vehicles and the audit, do we have a certain life cycle expectancy for each, whether it's a maintenance vehicle or a van or even the bus? I mean, what are the guidelines that we have?
Yeah, so that's what we'll be establishing. We do have a lot of our vehicles that are at the sites have met their lifespan, and we're not even able to get parts for a lot of them anymore. So I've been working with Tina to see, we've gotten some new vans recently. We've gotten our new buses recently. Now we're working to, we got a new van for the electrician because he could not work out of his. So we're trying to stagger and set. We know we're going to need a truck for the mechanic. We know eventually we're going to need to get a new carpentry truck. So it's just kind of planning out what's the oldest, what can we live with for a few years, and what's necessary right now. And so that'll all be part of that discussion.
And do we actually purchase the vehicles, or are they leased?
Yeah.
Generally we purchase.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great presentation. And just in answering his question, there's so much going on that we don't see in the presentation itself. And we still have our own garbage truck, correct?
Yep.
So we're still doing that ourselves.
For the Daly City schools.
For the Daly City
Yes.
schools, exactly. For the Daly City schools. And then I actually got to ride in it once. It was pretty cool when it was brand new. Mr. Schultz said, "You got to ride on Margie truck." And it took forever for us to get it. I remember. So just great presentation. It's so comprehensive. I can't believe we only have one mechanic. But that probably saves us more money doing it in-house rather than sending it out. And actually one of our van drivers did not know it was me driving, but came alongside me and said, it was Ty. She said, "Your taillight is out." "Excuse me, your taillight is out." I said, "Oh, thank you. Hi." She went, "Hi." And so that was helpful too. But yeah, I think one of the things that I learned early on when I first became a board member and we went to the California School Boards Association conference was that all of our folks who work in our district are educators, every single one of them. And that one of the presentations we went to was involved students it's important for students to have a trusted adult they can go to. And lots of times it's not a teacher, it's not a class, it's not a teacher. Sometimes, it's Mr. Eddie who, we see every day. I mean, it's, my kids, lots of times it was Mr. Eddie who, helped with everything at the school. If you needed something, go to Mr. Eddie. I mean, and someone who knew your name. So I think of everyone here as our trusted adults and our educators. So I just want to thank you so much for also seeing the importance of PD, professional development, because we all need it. We need it up here. We talk about it all the time. Everyone needs it. And I really appreciate that you see that. And you grew up in our district. You graduated from Terra Nova. And in these 6 years, you've had 2 children and you still keep it going. So I just really appreciate all your hard work and your entire staff and how you work so well with all our departments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a daughter who also works in maintenance so that they don't have to talk or do anything in public. So I sympathize and thank you so much for coming in. So a couple of things for me. One is I'm so glad that we are putting in processes for some of these different things. And one of my questions is do we have a definition of clean? And I say that for bathrooms, how do we define this is a clean bathroom? How do we define this is a clean food service area and have those, is that in here or are those being developed?
That will be part of the walkthrough checklist and the delineated duties. And then the proper cleaning will be covered in our custodial training that we have each summer. And so it's top down and it'll basically have every piece of it. So it's getting the walls, it's getting the sinks, it's using the proper cleaner on the toilets, which may be different from the sinks. So it's just making sure that everything's sanitized and clean itself. And then identifying those areas that unfortunately, no matter how clean they are, may not look it. So that will be a part of the checklist and the delineated duties.
Do those exist now or you're going to do those?
I have it created for the new district office because that was kind of a good template to start on a fresh slate. So now I have once again, our rental coordinator is helping me meet with the crews and put these together for each site now.
And then so for the student involvement, that will include like if there's something that isn't clean, students can like contact or?
Ideally, we just want to make sure that they're engaged and know that they can let maintenance know if something's clean, or let an administrator know, or let campus security know. That way that information is getting to us.
Okay, that's great. And then hopefully I wrote these down instead of trying to memorize it. Oh, there was a question. So I know before with the trash cans and separating the different types of trash, it was hard for us because we were collecting our own trash. And so how are we, how do we have the ability to separate the trash now?
So we have the local companies are now doing it. So we have compost, recycling, and trash. And so that's why we still do trash ourselves in Daly City. Pacifica did not allow us to separate. You have to do all three are done.
Okay.
So that's why Pacifica, we don't do our own trash anymore. Okay. And then same thing with the compost. We have to have certain bags in Daly City, and Pacifica doesn't have a separator while Daly City does. Okay. And so it's just making sure that unfortunately with the compost, if it's soiled, we do have to treat it as trash. And that's where the education piece will be huge, and getting compostable items. And so it's unfortunately right now, the compost is going to be the hardest thing to get, but that's what we're working to, is just to make sure that we're separating everything.
Okay. Yeah, and that's hard for anybody. And then last, I'm glad that there's training opportunities and professional development opportunities. I mean, to piggyback on Trustee Tejada, especially, and then again, when we go out, Andy and I doing the roadshow for 705, the feedback we hear the most is, who you allow in housing. And a lot of that feedback is targeted toward custodial staff. And a lot of people don't understand, you can't run a school without essential workers. Just cannot. And that, these are the folks that work during COVID. These are the folks that are always here. And as Trustee Tejada said, because of what we pay, a lot of people are here just because they like working in school systems and really love our kids and are some of the people that are closest to some of our kids. I see the custodial staff participating in a lot of school events off hours in support of our schools. So I'm glad that they are now getting treated like the professionals that they are in every way. Like there's new responsibility and expectation, but also support. So thank you both for heading up that effort. And I'm really glad that we have a new bus. I remember when I saw our new bus rolled in, I was like, look at us with our bus. And I remember when CSBN, we walked on the bus and we're like, ooh, and like we own one of those buses in there because our buses before were really sad. So I'm glad that some of them are being retired and we're able to replace them with newer vehicles. And anything that we have to do, it's maintenance is anything we have, I think spending the money on maintenance is better than having to trying to get a new bus, or so whatever we can do to extend the life, I also support. So thank you. Superintendent Preston.
I don't have a lot. I've jotted a couple of questions that I have that I probably should know, but I'm going to take the opportunity to ask you. The recycling bins, do they take paper and plastic in bottles?
Yeah.
So the photo that you showed of the blue bin.
So cardboard, paper, plastic.
So all in the same one?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then can you explain to me why we chain the bins together?
Because we're just having issues with like if there's an event going on or like there's people eating, like someone will grab one of the bins and just kind of like drag it across the courtyard or something.
Okay.
And so then you don't have the three bins together. You also don't have the signage with it. And so we want to try to just.
So the custodial staff can unhook them and empty them.
Yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm really glad that you were here. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peppers. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Moving on now to our public hearing for the 2024-2025 budget. Deputy Superintendent Van Raphorst.
Thank you so much, President Salahuddin. Good evening again, everyone. I don't need that. Thank you. Tonight, I present to you the proposed budget for the 24-25 school year. Ms. Baca mentioned that this is the 11th year of the LCAP. It surprised me, but it made me realize that this is my 8th proposed budget. Because in my previous district, I was in Corinne's position, and after 3 LCAPs, I said, I think I prefer budgeting. So yes, I'm so grateful for Ms. Baca and our partnership in creating all of this information. All right, so tonight, this is a public hearing for the proposed budget, and the budget will come back on June 18th for approval. There are no major changes since the draft budget was presented to the board during the work study in April, but I'll go ahead and point out some of the key components. And before I forget, I do want to mention that in that work study, I mentioned that we wanted to add a mechanic, and so that mechanic is included in this proposed budget. So July 1st or prior, you might see that on your hiring recommendations to add a mechanic. Okay, so we will remain community funded. That status is not likely to change, but I think it's important to understand the state LCFF funding. For 24-25, the LCFF is projected to increase by 1.07% based on the available information from the county assessor's office. I'm projecting that our tax revenue will increase by about 3.4%. So this increases our gap between the LCFF and what our funding is, and I have it projected for about 19%, the gap for the coming year. That's the funding that is at risk. So that's why it's important that we keep a healthy reserve. Federal funding and state funding will see decreases due to the end of COVID relief funds and due to our declining enrollment. Both of those are based on the number of students, but local revenue is projected to remain flat. Here are the assumptions that I used when developing the budget. As you can see, we are projecting declining enrollment, improving tax revenue. The county assessor's office is projecting 24-25 to be a down year compared to other years. Fairly consistent cost of living and consumer price index increases. And finally, STRS and PERS are leveling off. The contributions for PERS are increased for next year, but much less of an increase than previous years. We were seeing, $250,000, $500,000 increases in this, and to have 52,000 be the projected increase for retirement contributions is really a relief. The proposed budget does include the salary and benefit increases that you will be considering for approval later in the agenda. It also includes our strategic reserve levels, but it suspends our Fund 17 contribution for our special reserves. So that I may bring back for consideration, and when we close the books for 23-24, depending on what the fund balance is at that point. But I think that it makes sense for us to suspend it in this projection. So with all of those assumptions, the multi-year projection is laid out here. You can see that the current year, the budget year, and the 2 subsequent years, we will be able to meet our financial obligations, but we will be deficit spending. So it is important that we keep a close eye on that. And with that said, I still am very comfortable to recommend that we move forward with this budget for the current year. For the proposed year, which would project a 13.89% reserves in the general fund and an additional 1% in our special reserves. So like I said, tonight's just the public hearing, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right. Opening up for any questions or comments.
Again, just thank you so much for the work. We did go into much greater detail a few weeks back, so I'm pretty comfortable with what you have presented. I am grateful actually that our property tax basis has grown a little bit ahead of the LCFF districts. Still kind of crazy to think we're at nearly 120% of base funding, which is crazy, but we're still behind the other districts in our county, which is still crazy. That said, good numbers for next year. I'm grateful we can do what we want to do next year.
Yeah. Anything else? I trust you. Okay.
Just thank you. Fantastic. Was the LCAP presentation. I was about to say something funny about being ready to do this on my own, but I'm not. So thanks.
Thank you, Tina. I can't believe we spend this much money.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It goes quick, huh? Wow.
You might not know, got the guy.
Sorry, Vice President Gallegos, but cash rules everything around me.
Don't get me started.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. And while it looks like money and spending is relative, because while our budget is big, San Francisco Unified, who I bring up a lot, their deficit is $420 million. Like they have to find $420 million to cut in this upcoming school year.
Yeah.
So like I don't think that just blows my mind. like that we're not even the same boat. And talking about that, I mean, I feel very, very blessed that we have, you know, that Ms. Deputy Van Raphorst and the entire administrative team has been very revenue minded in our ongoing approach to how we operate as a school district, and that we adjust to our student population so that, you know, in 5 to 10 years, a future school board is all of a sudden having to deal with a lot of school districts are dealing with right now, which is not keeping with the trend of declining enrollment and making adjustments, and then all of a sudden having to make massive cuts to their budget, which just, you never get out of that unscathed. It just destroys communities, trust, support. So I'm glad that we have continued to always be mindful and gradual in our approach so that we are in a place to where we can still offer raises. So thank you for all the work, Ms. Van Raphorst. And I'll turn it over to Superintendent Cresta.
Thank you. Great work.
Okay, so with that, I'll open the public hearing. Seeing no comments, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you so much. And now I will move on to a public hearing for our 2024-2025 reserves in excess of the state minimum level. Deputy Van Raphorst.
Thank you. The next item allows a chance for the public to provide comment on the district reserve levels. The minimum reserve allowable for our district is 3%. And as previously mentioned, we currently have reserves in excess of that minimum. This is not an action item, but it is a required public hearing.
Okay, so I'm opening up the public hearing. Open, no comments. I'm gonna go ahead and close it. Thank you so much. Moving on now to our action items. First item up is resolution 2023/24/19, specification of the election order. Superintendent Cresta.
Thank you. So you have here resolution regarding the specification of the election order. So essentially what that means is that when we have an election, which we will have an election on November 5th of this year for 2 trustees, we need to specify the election order. So I recommend that the board approve this resolution.
Unless there's any comments or questions, can I get a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Moving on to our student services, the JUHSD plan for expelled students 2024. Associate Superintendent Vassalino.
Good evening. Every 3 years, the state requires that we as a county submit a triennial countywide plan for expelled students. The plan includes a document from each school district. The plan before you today is JUHSD's plan for providing intervention, support services, and educational services to all expelled pupils and targeted areas for improvement. I ask that you approve this plan this evening.
Thank you so much. I don't know if there's any questions or comments on the plan.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to our public disclosure of proposed bargaining agreement with the AFT Local 1481 and Teamsters Local 856. Deputy Superintendent Van Remplerst.
Thank you, President Salahuddin. I would like to recommend that the board approve the public disclosure of collective bargaining agreement as presented. This document has been reviewed by the County Office of Education and shows that the district can afford the agreements with AFT and Teamsters that Ms. Lujan will be presenting in the next few items.
Thank you. Unless there's any comments or questions, can I get a motion to approve the disclosure?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to the approval of the tentative agreement with the AFT 1481, Director of Human Resources, Ms. Lujan.
Good evening, everyone. The first item I have this evening is a tentative agreement with AFT 1481. After several months of negotiations, we have lots of revised contract language, and we've come to an agreement on revisions to the 24-25 salary schedules.
So before we vote, thank you guys all for the hard work, because, normally when you click on an agenda item, you may do one scroll to get the attachments, but this one you really have to scroll. That is a lot of different agreements and work that had to be done. And so I am, as you are bargaining on our behalf, and I'm extremely grateful.
Yeah. Just want to add, since we all see the news reports from throughout the state about various districts and labor strife, and I'm just so grateful for our labor piece, the relationships we have with AFT and the Teamsters, and it's just incredible that we have this type of piece today, and it will continue.
Yeah, I think it goes back again to what we're talking about, the transparency, and that we're open about what we're doing, and so there's people. You can't start bargaining if you don't understand the foundational place where we at budget-wise, what we're working towards. So I think that all of the work that we've done, it helped build trust so that we can bargain in good faith.
Absolutely.
I like that word, trust.
All right. So with that, move to approve the tentative agreement with AFT 1481.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, sorry. I'm supposed to ask for the motion, not actually make the motion.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was so excited about it. I was like, yeah,
it's all good.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Moving on to the approval of tentative agreement with our Teamsters Local Union 856. Turning back to Director of Human Resources, Ms. Lujan.
Thank you. Before you this evening is the tentative agreement with Teamsters Local Union 856, also a very collaborative set of conversations where we came to quick agreement on several contractual language updates that were just really necessary, as well as salary approved or improved salary schedule for the 24-25 school year.
Thank you. Unless there's any comments or questions.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Moving on next to the salary schedule revision for unrepresented employees, Ms. Lujan.
Hi. Our next item this evening brings forward salary schedule revisions for unrepresented employees. The salary schedule increase is equal to what was approved for AFT 1481.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Now moving on to the amendment of the superintendent's contract, Ms. Lujan.
Hi. So our next item this evening is an amendment to the superintendent contract, which also allows for requests an increase to the superintendent's salary that is increased. It's similar, the same as the overall increase to the employees represented by AFT 1481.
All move together. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. And next and last is the governing board stipend increase, Ms. Lujan.
Last but certainly not least, I'd like to bring forward an item. The item this evening would be a salary percentage increase equal to what was agreed to for AFT 1481 for our trustees.
right. We may hit the 250 soon.
Actually, I think we actually make it, we tip
We're over
300.
300. Finally.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I mean, I think it still comes out to about 274 after.
okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Like, is
so
after
it is.
that? Okay,
Yeah,
I don't get
but it's okay.
Look at us go. All right, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, moving on to a public hearing and we take action on this resolution for fiscal year 24-25 for the JUHSD Maintenance Assessment District. Deputy Superintendent Van Raphorst.
Thank you, President Salahuddin. This is the third in the series of resolutions necessary to continue our maintenance assessment district. It generates about $350,000 annually, and I do not have anything to add.
All right, opening up the public hearing. Hearing is open. Seeing no comments, I'm going to close the hearing and move for a motion to the resolution.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to resolution 2023-24/21, budgetary increases and transfers at the end of the year. Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you. As we close the books for 23-24, there may be expenditures that could exceed what was budgeted in each line item of the last board approved budget. So this resolution would allow the county superintendent to adjust the budget to cover these expenditures.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And last, resolution 2023-24/22, education protection account. Ms. Van Raphorst.
Thank you. I would like to recommend the approval of this resolution, which acknowledges the district will spend Prop 30 educational protection account funds on teacher salaries in accordance with this legislation.
All right. Can I get a motion
So
to
moved.
approve? Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, moving on. Any future agenda items?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No, I'm serious.